Hey, welcome to my video on the most powerful probiotic concept I have ever seen in my life. 2 months ago, the most wonderful YouTube algorithm fed me an interview with Dr. Eric Berg and Dr. William Davis. And it may be one of the greatest discoveries of my life because I believe I believe it will restore amazing health to my small intestine, large intestine, and colon, and I think it could do the same thing to just about everybody. We'll get to that in a second. So, Dr. William Davis wrote this book. It might be backward on this video, I don't know, but Super Gut, a 4-week plan to reprogram your microbiome, restore health, and lose weight. So, you'll hear more about my description of William Davis in a second, but why is this important? Well, imagine taking this probiotic tablet right here and turning it into an entire quart of probiotic yogurt with simply the cost of buying either half and half milk or coconut milk. And you'll hear more about that, but believe me, it is amazingly powerful. You will have 300 billion microbes per half cup to consume every day, and it will completely coat the lining of your 24 feet of small intestine and promote intestinal lining recovery and optimal intestinal lining, and then it'll also help to stop SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. But without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and start right into the video that I recorded for you. Thanks for watching. Hey, welcome. I'm Michael Christiansen. Welcome to Wealth, Wellness, and Longevity. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about not only making probiotics, but making probiotic yogurt. And it's not technically yogurt because it uses a different bacteria, one that's actually good for you. But it is a yogurt-like substance, according to the guy that taught me everything I know about this particular concept. 2 months ago, I was fed an algorithm by YouTube from an interview with Eric Berg and Dr. William Davis. Dr. William Davis is a former cardiologist who found out that he wasn't really helping people get healthier. He was really just patching people together and sending them back out in the world. So he started doing research on how to make people healthier, and what he found is that 96% of the American population has had their most beneficial gut bacteria completely destroyed. Many decades ago, that wasn't the case. But due to things like mostly antibiotics, did you know that over 600,000 antibiotic prescriptions are written in this country every day? And it only takes one round of antibiotics to destroy 100 different species of bacteria in your gut and completely throwing your microbiome out of whack completely. We'll get into that in a second. But he found 96% of American people have none of these particular bacteria left. And that is opening the door to many diseases and much in the way of inflammation. Because what happens is when the beneficial bacteria are destroyed in the small intestine, fecal bacteria crawl from the colon up through the large intestine and into the small intestine and infest it, and cause what's called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And when these bad bacteria invade your small intestine, they live and die in a matter of hours to days. Trillions of them. And as they die, their little sad carcasses, their little sad toxic carcasses, get absorbed by your body into the bloodstream. They are not always very beneficial, that's for sure. So when these fecal bacteria invade your small intestine, They destroy the mucus lining of your gut, making your intestine, in many cases, very permeable, causing what's called leaky gut, meaning allowing toxic chemicals, toxic compounds, whatever you want to call it, to soak through into the bloodstream and infect your brain, infect your every single corner of your body. In fact, what has been found is that many people with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's actually have bad bacteria infestation in the brain. And the only way it can really get there is by getting absorbed by the intestine into the bloodstream and then traveling everywhere. So, what did Dr. William Davis do? Well, he found that there was a source. Well, in his research, he found that some of the healthiest human populations and some of the healthiest animals in the world have what's called Lactobacillus reuteri bacteria. Americans used to have this pretty common back in the 1960s, but we have destroyed it through the use of processed foods instead of farm fresh foods. We had destroyed it through antibiotics, through pesticides, glyphosate, things like that. What you don't know is that not only does glyphosate and / Roundup kill insects, but it also kills the beneficial bacteria in your gut. And then you've got food additives and all kinds of other horrible things added to our foods. So what Dr. Davis did is he found a source, a company that was selling Lactobacillus reuteri bacteria for infants. And he bought these little tiny tablets, and what he decided to do is let's grow these bacteria in a medium, a liquid, and he chose dairy, half and half specifically, ultra pasteurized, organic, half and half. You can use coconut milk if you want to. But what he did was he bought this bacteria tablets from this company. He grew these bacteria in jars, just like yogurt. And we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you how to make that. But what he did was he was able to turn small little tiny tablets into an entire quart. Or in this case, I'm going to show you multiple quarts of some of the most amazing probiotic yogurt-like substance you have ever had. And what that does is it allows you to basically save a ton of money, because for a few dimes, you can make a gallon of some of the best probiotic yogurt. And then the best part is you can harvest that yogurt and set some of it aside and make more yogurt. And in the case of, well, to quote Dr. Davis, he's started 50 batches of his yogurt-like probiotic from just the single starter. And that saves a ton of money. So ultimately, you're really just paying for the dairy or the coconut milk. And what he discovered is that Lactobacillus reuteri, when reintroduced to the human body, promotes the loss of subcutaneous fat, which is the stuff on the surface above the muscle, and the loss of visceral fat, which is below the muscle, around the organs of your body. It also promotes muscle mass gain. And to quote Dr. Davis again, he was 60 years old when he started making his yogurt. And he said he gained about 13 pounds of muscle at 60 years old. So not only does it promote fat loss and muscle gain, but he says it activates the hypothalamus in the brain to produce oxytocin, which is the love hormone, and it makes you just generally happier, more social, more pleasant to be around, whatever. It just gives you a brighter outlook on life. And so that is one of the benefits of those are some of the benefits of the Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt that we're going to talk about and make. And not only that, but reuteri also secretes what's called bacteriocins. And these are natural antibiotic-like chemicals, I guess you could say that, that get secreted into the small intestine, large intestine, and colon, and they go to work killing off the bad bacteria, the fecal bacteria, we call it. So it's kind of just a nice natural antibiotic that just kills the bad and doesn't kill the good, which is wonderful. Now, on a separate note, he went on to do further research, and he found that Lactobacillus gasseri is another wonderful probiotic bacteria that makes the same amazingly delicious yogurt-like substance and also promotes fat loss, both visceral and subcutaneous, and muscle gain, and also secretes bacteriocins to kill off the bad fecal bacteria and also to help to remedy the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And then there was one more called Bacillus subtilis. And Bacillus subtilis is just another really good bacteria that goes to work helping to heal the gut lining, the mucus lining of the gut, get rid of those fecal bacteria, and so on and so forth. So there are 3 core bacterias that he really recommends, and all of them make amazing yogurt-like substance, and it is super easy to make, and I'm going to show you how to make it. And if you want to learn all about it, go get yourself a copy or an audiobook or paperback of Dr. William Davis's Super Gut book. He is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of Wheat Belly, where he outlines the toxic dangers of American modern wheat. American modern wheat was engineered in the 60s, and it destroys the lining of the small intestine and makes it permeable to toxic things. So American wheat is just bad. So word of advice, stay away from American wheat. But that's for another video. We're going to talk about yogurt. So without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and start making some yogurt, and I'll show you how to do it. All right. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about what we need to make our yogurt. You could use a yogurt maker. There are several, but your yogurt maker needs to have the ability to set the temperature to 99 degrees for 36 hours. You could use a Instapot, which I believe, if it is able to be set for 99 degrees, you could put 2 quarts of yogurt in an Instapot if you already have an Instapot. Feel free to message me if you want some more information. I, on the other hand, chose to get a sous vide, which is this box and this heater here, because not only can I make my yogurt in there, I can also use it to cook steaks to absolute perfection. Chicken, fish, you name it. And if you want to learn more about that, well, we can talk about more. You can always message me. But this is a plastic bucket, and this is the ANOVA, and I will show you what that is right here. So this is the ANOVA precision cooker. It is Wi-Fi enabled, 1100 watts. Now this creature right here I think is around $150 to $160, but you can get a smaller 700 watt ANOVA sous vide cooker on Amazon for under $100, I think. More like 65 or 70. So this is a water pump and a water heater. So it'll circulate the water in the water bath here, and it will also heat it to 99 degrees, and it'll also have a temperature setting for 99 degrees. So if I plug it in, one second, you'll see that the screen turns on, and I can set the temperature, tapping on that, set it to 99 degrees, and then I can set the time for 36 hours, hit play, hit start, and then it'll circulate the water in the bath for the entire 36 hours, keeping the yogurt very happy. Okay, so I'll go ahead and unplug that. I don't need that right now. We have organic inulin from Amazon, from this NutriCost Organic, and this is the food that your bacteria eats in order to make the yogurt. And then in the sous vide bath, we have just enough room for 4 quarts of the yogurt. So we definitely want to have 4 glass jars here, canning jars. And it doesn't hurt to buy a whole pack of 12 of these things, because I will tell you that my friends are already stealing my yogurt. I've got 3 friends, maybe 2, but there's more and more friends every day stealing my yogurt, and we'll just leave it at that. So it's good to have they sell these jars on Amazon and at Ace Hardware in packs of 12, so that helps. Then we have a stainless steel mixing bowl, so we can mix our bacteria and our inulin fiber powder, and then our dairy product, which we're going to be using Organic Valley half and half. Okay, here is our dairy product. Organic Valley half and half, organic pasture raised. I have chosen this one particularly for the ease of making the yogurt because it is ultra pasteurized. Where does it say that? It says it here somewhere. Oh, right there. Ultra pasteurized grade A, rich and creamy. And I'll tell you, it is rich and creamy. And ultra pasteurized is important in this case for ease of use, because all the bacteria in the milk have been killed off. So it is pure, untainted half and half, which means that you will be able to grow your probiotic bacteria in your glass jars without fear of other bacteria fighting for domination in the milk. You do not want any other bacteria in your jar competing with your Reuteri, Gaceri, or Subtilis. So ultra pasteurized just means sterile. No other bacteria is alive. If you use A2 milk or raw cream, raw half and half, anything that's got still live bacteria in it, you need to heat it to at least 180 degrees for 20 minutes to kill off all the bacteria that is in the milk product that you have decided to use. But for simplicity, if you use this brand, you do not need to heat anything. You just get to go straight into the jar, which we'll get to in a second. Okay, if you are making this for the first time, you will need a starter. On Amazon, you will get you can get a Lactobacillus reuteri culture from one place, like Cutting Edge Cultures. This just happens to be the Gaceri starter, but the Reuteri starter looks like the same. It has 4 pouches. That'll get you started. You could buy Oxytocin Reuteri tablets. That's fine. This one, HU58, is the Subtilis bacteria tablets from Amazon. And so I'll put in the description the shopping list to get you started, so you can just order everything from Amazon. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the organic inulin. So we'll do 1 scoop of the inulin powder. This is the food that your bacteria wants to eat. And then what we'll do is, I'll put a little bit of half and half in there, just enough to get it wet, to create a little bit of a slurry, not much. And because I have already made Reuteri yogurt, I already have some leftover Reuteri yogurt, and this is what I'm going to use to start the new batch. I will tell you right now that using prior yogurt to making your new yogurt will almost guarantee that you get thick, rich, creamy yogurt. If you start your first batch, this is important, listen to this, because it took me a little bit of time to figure this out. If you use a tablet of Reuteri or Gaceri or Subtilis to start your first batch, there's about a 50% chance that you will get separated yogurt, meaning you'll have like a watery whey on the bottom half of the jar and a thick cottage cheese-like substance on the top half of the jar. It's still fine. It's amazing. It's still just as good for you. It just doesn't taste the same, and it's certainly not as creamy. But if you use prior yogurt to make your new yogurt, you will almost guarantee thick, creamy yogurt. So the first batch, like I said, is a little sketchy, and then after that, you're good to go. So the tablets are just a little less predictable. So use the tablets to start your batch, or use the pouches to start your first batch. And don't get mad if your yogurt separates on the first batch. Just harvest it and use it to start your next batch, and then go ahead and eat the separated yogurt by stirring it up and consuming it. So if you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. But that's it. First batch, 50% chance of separation. Don't get grouchy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stir up this, and I'll put some of my Reuteri yogurt in there as well, and I'll stir it up into a slurry. Okay, what you don't want is, you don't want any of the inulin powder getting clumpy. You want to just try to make it thick and creamy in here. So I'm just really stirring it around. I'm using a spoon because a spoon is really easy to make sterile with hot, warm, soapy water. There's nowhere for a bacteria really to hide on a spoon much, compared to, say, a whisk or a stirring device of some kind. So, all right, so we got it pretty much mixed up there. It's about as good as we're going to get. And then I'm going to go ahead and set that spoon aside. I'll go ahead and add a little more, half and half to there, and just go ahead and stir it up a little bit more. I'm only going to do this once as far as showing you this, but so just do that, and then we'll go ahead and just pour it into one of the jars. Again, this is the Lactobacillus reuteri, and then I'll go ahead and just top that off. Leave about an inch of headspace on there in case your yogurt separates, because if it does separate, it kind of turns into a little bit of a yogurt volcano, and it can form kind of a mushroom top and overflow into your water bath. Not a big deal, but that's about perfect right there. I'll just go ahead and go with that. So with that done, I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside. I'll put that in the water bath in a second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time. Okay, so I've got 2 Lactobacillus reuteri yogurts ready to go here, and then just another picture of the Anova sous vide. And then what I'm going to do with these 2 is I'm going to go ahead and make 1 Lactobacillus gasseri and 1 Bacillus subtilis. I already have live yogurt from prior batches ready to go. I want to remind you that if you need to get started, this is a pouch of 4. So let me just open that up real quick. This comes with 4 of these cutting edge cultures, and one of these pouches of bacteria will make 1 quart, and then you can make basically an unlimited amount of yogurt from just 1 pouch if you just keep harvesting it. All right, let me go ahead and fill these 2 jars. Word of advice: make sure that you clean your bowl and your spoon. After starting these are full of Lactobacillus reuteri bacteria. So is the bowl. I need to clean this, soap and water it in hot, warm water, and get it as sterile as I can, and that way I don't infect the next other strains, the gasseri and the subtilis, with reuteri bacteria. Okay, my jars are full. I have 2 Lactobacillus reuteri, 1 gasseri, and 1 Bacillus subtilis. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the water bath to the top of the yogurt level in the jar. And you may see in the back there that on the heater pump in the back, the sous vide, there's a little line that says min. It's probably hard to see. There you go, min. That's the minimum water level. The pump will shut off if the water is not above that line. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up the bath, and I'll be right back. Okay, water bath is full. It's above the min line in the back there. You can probably see the water level is just about the top of the yogurt. That's just fine. We're going to simulate human body temperature. We're going to go ahead and change the temperature to 99 degrees because the human body is 98.6. So we're going to, oops, oh dear. We're going to go ahead and go to 99. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to change the time to 36 hours. And then the reason for the 36 hours is Dr. William Davis has done studies, and he found that 36 hours you get the most bacteria in the milk possible before it starts to die off due to overcrowding. So that was the reason for doing so. So once you get it all dialed in there, you just press that to save. And I hear it running already. You see the water moving around in there. The water pump on the sous vide is running and the heater is running. If you plan to use this sous vide box just for yogurt, the cheaper 700 watt Anova Precision sous vide is probably just fine because you're just heating water for yogurt. If you want to use the sous vide for steak, chicken, seafood, whatever, you might consider the $150, $160 option, which is this one, the Anova Precision Cooker 3.0 is what it says on the box. So the 36 hours also, well, let me tell you one thing. Okay, so these bacteria have been found to double in population every 3 hours. So imagine that little tablespoon of yogurt that I put in each jar. Well, imagine that doubling every 3 hours. You will end up with 10 times or 1,000% more, approximately, over a 36-hour period. So there's 12 doublings over a 36-hour period. And that is why 1 tablespoon of yogurt turns into an entire quart. So that is why we do it. Just make sure, well, start your yogurt whenever you want to. I started mine at about 4:37 p.m. So that means that on Saturday morning at 4:37 or around 5 a.m. on Saturday, I'll have to get up and put my yogurt in the fridge. Probably could wait until 6, but if I want to stick to 36 hours at about 4:37 on Saturday morning, I'll have to do that. All right, well, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just write a comment and I will get back to you. I'd be happy to answer questions. I will also put the shopping list and an interview with Dr. Eric Berg and Dr. William Davis in the comments in the description of this video so you can watch their commentary. Dr. Berg talks about how depression can often be caused by bad small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and this is one possible way of maybe changing your mental wellness as well as physical wellness, inflammation, body fat composition, and muscle composition. So, all right, thanks for watching again and have a absolutely awesome day. Bye-bye. One thing I didn't want to forget is I wanted to show you what the yogurt looks like. Unfortunately, I can't show you how it tastes over video. But I do have a jar of yogurt here of the Reuteri that I have been consuming for the last few days. Let me get a spoon and I'll show you kind of what it looks like when it's done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dip that spoon in there, scoop it up, and you can see that it looks like absolutely thick, beautiful, soft serve ice cream. And that's the best way I would describe it, is it holds up pretty well. It doesn't run off the spoon. It holds on pretty tight. It's pretty darn thick, and it tastes like the best, in my opinion, the best yogurt you will ever have. And the best part about this yogurt is that it has no sugar in it. It's just dairy or coconut milk, depending on which one you use. No sugar, unlike store-bought yogurt, which tends to have an insane amount of sugar. All it is fat, protein, vitamins and minerals, and some amazing bacteria. 300 billion probiotic bacteria microbes per half cup is what Dr. Davis estimated. Without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and eat it.